When believing gets hard, prayer can be one of the first things we throw out the window. Sometimes we don't want to pray to God because it hurts too much. It feels much easier to be resentful and stay stuck in our doubt. I know I do that. Choosing to continue to hope has to be a deliberate decision. We have to decide to be vulnerable when our hearts are in this state. Esther was an amazing woman who learned how to find hope in God while in a very difficult circumstance. She endured the fear of physical danger, the pressure to save lives, and the pain-filled sacrifice for a greater purpose. She was able to endure because she asked one question. What's that one question, you might ask? Stick around. Let's take a look at what we can learn from Esther to help us find hope when believing gets too hard. So we're gonna look in Esther chapter 4. But what happens in chapters 1, 2, and 3, you might ask? Let me give you a super short summary of Esther's story so far. Esther is a young Jewish woman living with her cousin, Mordecai, during a time when the Jews were in exile and captivity by other nations. At the time, the Persian king Xerxes is looking for a new queen. Esther finds favor with the king, and she becomes queen, but hides the fact that she's Jewish. King Xerxes has a court official, Haman, who persuades the king with his scheming to authorize annihilating all the Jews of the empire. Mordecai goes to Queen Esther to use her influence as queen to stop this genocide from happening. But there's a rule in place that says if you approach King Xerxes without being summoned, you could be put to death. So Mordecai is asking Queen Esther to risk her life to save her people. And that is where we're at in the story. Mordecai and Queen Esther are having that conversation in Esther chapter 4. Tell Esther, don't be fooled. Just because you are living inside the king's palace doesn't mean that you, out of all the Jews, will escape the carnage. You must go before your king. If you stay silent during this time, deliverance for the Jews will come from somewhere, but you, my child, and all of your father's family will die. And who knows, perhaps you have been made queen for such a time as this. Once again, Hathach returned to Queen Esther with Mordecai's message. In turn, she sent a reply back to Mordecai. Tell Mordecai, in preparation for my audience with the king, do this. Gather together all the Jews in Susa and fast and pray for me. Intercede for me. For 3 days and nights, abstain from all food and drink. My maids and I will join you in this time. And after the 3 days, I will go in to the king and plead my people's case, even though it means breaking the law. And if I die, then I die. Mordecai left the king's gate and put all of Esther's instructions into action. God had plans for Esther, bigger than she could have known. While she was trying to mind her own business, God wanted her to save her people. For a challenge this big, she needed prayer, but she couldn't just pray alone. When believing gets hard, we need our friends to join us in prayer. It takes a certain level of humility to ask for the prayers of others. So Esther asked the million-dollar question, can you pray for me? You have to have such a deep concern and desire to move God to act that you don't care who knows about it. Asking people to pray is hard for me. It is a vulnerable thing. It means I need help, and I don't like to admit that I need help. I feel vulnerable and needy. Esther was given an impossible task, one she thought she had no hope of surviving. It was so grand that it wasn't enough for just her to pray, but she needed everyone to pray because she knew she had the support of everyone praying for her and with her. Esther had the strength, courage, and hope she needed to do the impossible. If you keep reading her story, you'll see that her decision to bravely face the king led to untold numbers of Jewish people being saved. In 2 Corinthians 1 verse 11, it says, join us in this work, lend us a hand through prayer, so that many will give thanks for the gift that comes to us when God answers the prayers of so many. Sometimes it's not enough to pray alone. The challenges we can face may require the prayers of many to be successful. Asking other people to pray for you bolsters your hope because you can see how much they care about you and they may believe even more than you do. When God answers a prayer that many people are praying for, it's a shared victory. You can share your joy with so many people because you've opened your heart up to people and they've joined you on the journey. Like Frodo in Lord of the Rings, you might be carrying the burden yourself, but you have a fellowship of people around you that will help carry you through. I've shared about my wife and I's adoption journey before on this channel, and when I lack the faith, it brings so much encouragement and hope to know that other people are praying for us. I began asking people to pray weekly for our situation, and that spread to more and more people. Now we have people all over the United States praying for us, and that increases my hope that God will answer our prayers because more people are praying on our behalf. I felt more loved while in a vulnerable position, which resulted in more hope that God would come through on our behalf. So, Esther was an amazing woman who learned how to find hope in God while in a very difficult circumstance. She survived the threat of death and genocide because she prayed and asked everyone else to pray with her. What do you need prayers for? Drop a comment below asking and use the prayer emoji. Who can you ask to pray for you and your challenge today? It just takes a text message. So if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button below and subscribe to the Deep Spirituality YouTube channel. If you want to see more video devotionals, you can also head over to deepspirituality.com. If you want to check out more scriptures on hope, you can read the full article in the description below, or you can watch another video on vulnerability titled, "Why Are We Afraid of Vulnerability?" Peace.